Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys are all doing really well. As you can see, I'm in a different setup. This is my new apartment and I've got a dedicated space to be able to shoot videos from. So it's definitely going to make it a lot easier, a lot more convenient for me as well to shoot more content for you guys. Now this is not going to be the final setup. This is just temporary, makeshift. I still need to go out and figure out what kind of background I do want for my videos. But if you have any suggestions, I'd love to know, leave them down below. Alright guys, now as you can tell by the title of today's video, I want to go through some of the lessons that I learned last year. This is in relation to personal finance, in terms of careers, and also just general life self-awareness and well-being collectively. I have actually done videos like this before on my channel where I talk about, 24 lessons I learned by the age of 24, 25. I did it when I was 26 as well, but I think now that I'm 27, I feel like 27 lessons would just be too much. So I've just compiled this into my top 10 lessons that I have picked up from last year. So if you are interested in finding out, then please keep watching. So the first lesson that I want to share with you guys is working up the corporate ladder at your corporate job will not actually make you rich. The only way that you are going to get rich is by investing your money. The reason that I say this is because when you're working at a corporate job, your salary, your income is going to be capped for that entire year. There are not going to be any chances for you to increase your income. It will only go up in line with inflation the following year, unless of course you get promoted, but then your income is pretty much capped. The earning potential as to how much you could potentially earn at a 9-to-5 job is also capped as well. It's pretty rare to see someone who is a junior level employee earning about 150 to 200k, and that is why I say that there is limited freedom, and I've come to realize this, but working my way up the corporate ladder was really not for me. I know it is for some people, but personally for me, I think the chances of running your own business, having a YouTube channel, being on social media is definitely something that can really boost your income and your salary without you having to wait until the following year to increase your pay. The second lesson that I want to share with you guys is something that I always see very often, especially with my partner, Ravi. He speaks to a lot of clients and his clients are all after a property and they all want to start investing, and they obviously come to Ravi for advice because all of the advice that they have received before has not actually worked. And there's a reason why it hasn't actually worked, because the people that have been giving advice have not actually gone out and done it for themselves. So what I mean by this is, if you're asking your parents for advice around property, investing, cryptocurrency, anything like that, and you want to know where to put your money, but the people that you're asking haven't actually done this and gone out and done it for themselves, then it's really not valid. It's irrelevant. That kind of advice is not going to help you. Therefore, asking a professional for advice is a better use of your time and your money. When it came time for me to quitting my 9-to-5 job, I also asked around a lot of people in the office as to what I should do, and the response that I received was, no, you shouldn't quit your job. You should continue working your 9-to-5 job and maybe go into part-time. But I just felt that I was neither here nor there, and instead I should have asked someone who had actually done this before and gotten advice from them. So getting advice from people who haven't done it for themselves, I think is pretty irrelevant. Third point, saving your money in a bank account is not going to make you rich. Again, you need to invest your money. And that is why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, because the rich know how to make their money work for them. Instead, if you've got the poor dad mentality, this is something that I picked up from Rich Dad Poor Dad. If you've got a poor dad mentality, then you are going to work harder. You're going to put in more time, more effort, and your time is directly correlated with how much money you make. Whereas if there was a rich person, they would try to find ways that they can earn passive income so that they don't need to work as hard and almost enjoy a work-life balance. The next lesson that I picked up was that overthinking is really not going to take you anywhere. You need to execute. At the end of the day, you can do all the planning, all of the preparation, research, brainstorming, but if you don't actually take that information, take that research and do something about it, you're really not executing, and you're not really allowing for things to progress and for you to get started on that project or that side hustle or get the ball rolling. So I tell a lot of my clients and a lot of my friends and family around me to, yes, plan, but don't let that be everything that you do. You need to actually start taking small steps that will help you to get to where you want to be. The next lesson that I want to share with you is around my consulting service that I actually launched last year in about April, I believe. Now, obviously that consulting side of the business is no longer there. And the reason it isn't there is just because I lost passion. It wasn't something that I was wholeheartedly passionate about. It was a time in my life where I felt that I was almost irrelevant because I wasn't working a 9-to-5 job, and naturally that passion wasn't there for me. Instead, something that I really do enjoy is personal finance, and which is why you're seeing more content around personal finance. So the point that I want to make is that you won't actually know what you want to do in life unless you actually go out there and try it. I tried the consulting business, it didn't work for me, and I've ticked it off the bucket list. It's done and dusted. Now I can move on to other things. But I wouldn't have known if I had enjoyed consulting and providing career advice if, of course, I didn't try it. So you have to try before you figure out what it is out there that you actually enjoy doing. Next lesson, if you don't change your environment, your thinking, the people, the relationships around you, your habits, your schedule, then you're really not going to grow as a person. You need to make sure that you step outside of your comfort zone and you actually make a change. Now, there's actually a quote by Albert Einstein who says, "Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result." Now, I very much agree with that, because if you're not going to change anything about what you're doing, how can you expect a different result? And a different result means progression or something that will spark your interest with something else. Things need to change in your immediate life right now, in your general life right now, for you to see some aspect of self-growth. Next lesson, building yourself up may come at the expense of your friends, your family, acquaintances, and other relationships. But that is okay, because the closest people around you will be the ones that actually support you. There have been many people in my friend circle as well who I haven't actually spoken to in about a year and a half to 2 years, and that is okay, because relationships tend to drift apart. We've got different goals, ambitions, and our paths are completely different now, so that's totally fine. But you need to come to terms with that. Holding that specific relationship is not going to do you any good, especially if you want to grow and develop as a person. So if you've got that best friend that you are holding on to, but they're not making the time and effort, and you feel like you're not really going to get anything out of this relationship, then this may be the time to drift apart. Next lesson is saying no. It is totally okay to say no. Now, obviously in the work that I do, people are obviously influenced by what I say and what I do. That is just part of the parcel. But there are also people who are messaging me and asking me to have coffee with them, have maybe lunch with them, go out of my way because they need something or they want to pick my brain about a particular topic. Now, I have actually had to say no multiple times, because to me, I'm running a business. If I leave running my business, I'm not going to get paid. Of course, there's passive income, but if I directly stop working on my business, that means that there's a direct impact on me earning an income. And to be very fair, my time is definitely more valuable than it has ever been before, because I want to do things that I actually enjoy. Now, I'm not saying that I don't enjoy talking to you guys, but the thing is that I can't go out speaking to everyone, responding to all the messages, all the DMs, and meeting up with you guys for lunch, for coffee, just because it won't be a good use of my time. There may be other ways that I can do that, maybe having a community page where we sit and chat. That may be better for my time, because I can then target a larger number of people. So at the end of the day, I've just come to the realization that I have to say no to things like this. The next lesson that I picked up last year was actually a very important one, and that was for me to stay on top of economics, personal finance related news. I think it's very important to stay on top of personal finance, because our money is obviously tied into assets like stocks, cryptocurrency, NFTs, real estate, things like that. So we want to make sure that we understand and we have a solid understanding and knowledge around what is going on, because at the end of the day, your money is tied up here. So why wouldn't you want to know? And that's why I've been taking more initiative, more time out of my day to really understand and educate myself around the space that is coming about, and that is Web 3.0. If you haven't heard about it, the metaverse, NFTs, really get yourself educated, because this is where the future is, and that's all I'm really going to say. And finally, the last lesson that I gained from last year, and that is something that I always want to make sure that I achieve and I stay on top of, and that is physical health and well-being, but also my mental well-being as well. So that is obviously getting those regular checkups. I think is very important because you just never know what could happen. So I think having those regular checkups with your doctor is just very important because your health obviously comes first. I wouldn't be able to do any of this if I wasn't healthy. So I think making that a priority is something that I learned last year, and I definitely want to carry that on for this year as well. All right guys, so those are the lessons that I wanted to share with you. I really hope you found it useful, informative, and I hope it's something that you can take on for your lives as well. Of course, anything that I mentioned in this video today is not financial advice, so make sure you consult a professional. But that's it guys, I'm going to leave it here. Be sure to follow me over on my Instagram pages and my TikTok page as well, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Thanks guys.